Okay, so it's time to take a look at the East now, and Buffalo, New York, Philly, Rochester, Toronto, Boston. We'll start off with the champion Buffalo Bandits. A few guys in and a few guys out. I guess the biggest news, on paper, I'm looking at this team now, and I think they might possibly be a better team than they were last year. Of course, all injuries aside, you got Sean Greenhall coming in, and he's a very highly touted offensive player.
Yeah.
Cody Jacobs they picked up from Chicago in the dispersal draft, and really offensively they didn't really lose anybody. They lost Kyle Laverty to another team. I forget who he went to, and Pat McCready's unsigned. But offensively, you've still got Tavares, you've still got Dosty, Steenhouse. What do you see with the Bandits this year?
Well, they got 19 guys coming back. Steenhouse, Tavares are back. These guys are the leaders down there. It's hard to say from year to year, are we going to repeat again? I don't think there's been a repeat winner in the National Lacrosse League since the Toronto Rock.
Yeah.
But once again, what a fan base. Some of these guys we just mentioned, Steenhouse, Jacobs, Tavares, I could go down the list. A lot of these guys are playing close to home in front of a lot of people that they know.
Yeah.
And that makes a big difference in my game anyways.
Yeah.
The only thing that says they're not going to repeat to me is we haven't had a repeat champion in a few years now. The league is so wide open.
Yeah.
But I believe they are going to be the #1 team to beat in the East.
Well, and Darius Kilgore said it. I mean, they've been a target, and now being the defending champions, they're going to be a bigger target this year.
Yeah, they got a huge target on their back, that's for sure.
So New York Titans, coaching change there. Adam Mueller has retired from coaching. Ed Como comes over from the Rochester Nighthawks, and he's been quoted as commenting on the athleticism, something we've talked about all last year, the athleticism of these young American players that play for the New York Titans. Always been a favorite team of mine just to watch because they're so exciting.
Mm-hmm.
And I have had the opportunity, fortunately, to meet a few of the guys, get to know them a little bit. Great group of guys. What do you see happening there this year?
Well, Eddie Como's gone on a record and said he was really impressed with the caliber of play and the attitude, and the U.S. players are really adopting the indoor game a lot better. So for him, from a coach's standpoint, it's been very enjoyable. They've got Ryan Boyle, Jordan Hall, Pat Madalena, Mike McClellan, and it's got to be one of the league's most dangerous offenses. Now, getting back to their athleticism, you and I are behind the scenes all the time at these games. I have yet to see as big physically a team as a New York Titans. These guys all look like tight ends. They're huge, man. Like they're 6'3", 6'4", and they're really well-conditioned athletes. I don't believe they have the nice slick hands that a lot of the guys that grown up playing box lacrosse have, but they make up for it in their size. They literally bowl people over, and they're, I think more than anybody, are hot to show the Canadians that the Yanks can play this game too.
Yeah, and I think they've done that. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I think they've done that over the past couple of years. I don't think they have anything to prove anymore.
No.
But I guess the challenge now, though, is to take that to the next step. They need to contend for the championship. They came within a game last year of making it to the championship in Buffalo. Very exciting game, one that I was able to attend. As I said, an exciting team, but now everybody in New York is expecting that team to take the next step.
Yeah.
So, Philadelphia Wings. Here's a team lost a few players. I guess the biggest news out of Philadelphia, Ethan Iannucci with the blown out knee. There is reports that he is going to play at some point this season.
Yep.
But when you pull 70-some goals out of your lineup, that hurts you offensively.
Yeah, not to mention the loss of Jake Berge, Jamie Rooney, and Jason Crosby through dispersal drafts and trades. So they've got a really different face this year. And yeah, Ethan Iannucci, 71 goals is a lot of points to lose, and he became a leader on that team. He was like, if you can make a comparison, Sidney Crosby or John Tavares in hockey. Every time Iannucci was out there, you knew something was going to happen, or a goal be scored. So they're going to miss that a lot. Once again, another one of the teams with a great fan base. I know from some of the guys playing the league say that's their least favorite place as a visitor to go, because they just get they get hammered as soon as they walk on the floor by the fans, not only the local team. So good for you, Philly, and I wish you all the best. Now Jeff Snyder is a transition star for the Philadelphia Wings. And last year in that in the face-off circle in the championship game, he went 28 for 30 in one of the games. So that's a big thing too. Iannucci, like we read, is he should be back sometime this year, but those are pretty serious injuries. And then Iannucci's a big man too. I think a smaller, little guy who's got a lower center of gravity can get over some of these knee injuries a lot quicker. But him being a big guy, take it easy, and Ethan, and don't come back too early. Not that because I don't want to face you. No, I don't. I don't want to see you get hurt because you're one of the greatest stars in the game. I hope you're there for a long time.
And you know what? And I was just going to jump in there and say that Ethan Iannucci and Dan Dawson, two of the guys in the league that when I watched the games last year, they were two of the guys that it didn't matter. You could double team them.
Yeah.
If they wanted to go to the net, they were still going to go to the net just because of their sheer strength and skill.
Definitely.
Unbelievable skill. One guy I'm going to throw out there for you to keep an eye on, though, a local boy here, well, he was local a number of years ago, Kyle Wales. Played junior in the Beaches. He was from the Whitby area here, grew up here. He played his rookie year and had a pretty good year. Did not play last year. Now, I read reports about it being a work visa issue, being down there, but I know he had a career that he was focusing on as well. He is back, he is playing, and in a couple of exhibition games, he's done very, very well. Not to say for a second he's going to replace Iannucci's scoring, but keep your eye out for Kyle Wales this year.
Yep, I agree.
Next on our list, your beloved Toronto Rock.
My beloved Toronto Rock. Lots of changes there. One of my favorite changes is I'm really happy to see Jason Crosby in a Rock uniform. Not only because of the fact that Jason and I are good pals, but I've always enjoyed watching his stick skills. Now, this is the man that's going to be the setup guy, I think, for Lewis Ratcliffe. Mr. Ratcliffe is not known as a setup guy. He's known as a heavy shooter.
He's a finisher.
As a finisher. Man, if you get... Because one thing about Crosby, he's got sweet hands, he's got little soft passes, he does a round the back thing really well, he does a look away pass that he it's really good, and he's played beside John Grant for a number of years. What the heck, you're going to pick up a lot of stuff from that guy.
Yeah.
Luke Wiles is in Toronto, courtesy of a trade with San Jose. Stephen Hoare.
Great face-off guy.
Terrific guy again. According to Coach Clark, they've added a lot of athleticism and skill and speed up front. The only thing that he feels is lacking is maybe a little speed defense for the Rock. But once again, great fan base. Get behind the team. Jimmy Veltman's behind the bench now. Chris Driscoll is the new captain. Yep. It should be a very exciting year at the Air Canada Centre.
Yeah, and I'm just going to jump in there on Crosby, one of those guys that will pay the price to get the job done.
Yes.
And I think that can be huge for Lewis Ratcliffe.
Yep.
Because if he's willing to pay the price to get Ratcliffe the ball, the ball's going in the net more than it's not. So that could be a good thing. And I think it was a really, really huge pickup, Stephen Hoare, getting him on the faceoffs.
Yeah.
And I really, being one of those guys from the area, you're always critical of your own team, etc., etc. I think some of the moves that they've made make them an instant contender.
So,
I really do.
Definitely.
They can very much contend in the East. And Bob Watson, we saw last year, a couple of years ago, everybody said he's done. You know what? He showed last year he's not anywhere near done. God forbid he get injured.
Yeah.
No disrespect to Mike Atwood, because Mike Poulin is no longer there. Poulin showed last year that he can play, but he's no longer there. So if Watson goes down, I still think Watson is the MVP of this team. And the one concern that I actually have is, as you just briefly touched on, the speed of their defense. I'm not going to say just the speed of their defense, but the aging defense. They're not getting any younger back there. And with all of these new guys coming into the league, the American stars coming in with the speed that they've got and the skills that they've got, hopefully there's a little bit of clutch and grab allowed, because if there's not, they're going to find a few power plays going the other way.
Something had to be done down there, because everybody comes to see a winner. Didn't have a winner for a couple of years. The fan was we were down about 2,500 people a game, still at 16,000, 17,000 plus per game. Nothing to cry about. Yeah. But in order for us to return to those days of 19,000 and packing the building, we got to start putting some W's up in the win column. And I don't think, if I know Mike Clofer, the general manager of player development there, I don't think he's done yet.